Hello, it's 4 News O'Clock on All News Nigeria. I am Okwemi Olubimi. Here are the headlines for today. Elon Musk plans to sue Meta over copycat app. Biden bet on economic gains amid inflation. Now the news. Twitter has threatened to sue Meta over its new Threads app, which Mark Zuckerberg has openly viewed as a rival, claiming the company has violated Twitter's intellectual property rights. In a letter to CEO Mark Zuckerberg, first published by the news outlet Semaphore, a lawyer for Twitter said the company has serious concerns that Meta Platforms has engaged in systematic, willful, and unlawful misappropriation of Twitter's trade secrets and other intellectual property. Meta launched Threads, a text-based conversation app intended to rival Twitter, on Wednesday to a largely positive reception. The company said Threads garnered 30 million sign-ups in less than 24 hours after launching, apparently making it the most rapidly downloaded app ever. Threads accounts are linked to Instagram profiles, making the process to sign up seamless between apps and giving the Twitter copycat a built-in user base. Zuckerberg said Threads was Meta's attempt at taking a shot to build a public conversations app with 1 billion plus people, an opportunity that Twitter had but hasn't nailed. Twitter claims in the cease and desist that Meta has poached dozens of former employees in the past year, some of whom had and continue to have access to Twitter's trade secrets and other highly confidential information, and many of whom have improperly kept Twitter documents or electronic devices. In response to the letter, Meta's communications director Andy Stone posted on Threads that there are no engineers on the team that used to work at Twitter. It's unclear what evidence Twitter has that former employees who now work at Meta continue to have access to Twitter intellectual property or trade secrets. Twitter also said Meta was prohibited from scraping data from any Twitter device. Twitter's owner Elon Musk has recently made several moves to purportedly curtail any efforts to scrape Twitter data, including limiting the number of tweets users can see in a day. At the time, Musk said it was in response to companies using Twitter to train their AI models. It is fairly common for tech employees to jump from one company to another, particularly if they've worked at a social media platform. The threat of a lawsuit over trade secret appropriation is not without precedent or consequence in the tech industry. In 2018, for instance, the Google-owned self-driving car company Waymo sued Uber over trade secrets theft after a top executive at Waymo left the company to join Uber's efforts to produce its own self-driving technology. Google and Uber ultimately settled for $245 million. The employee in question, Anthony Lewandowski, was later charged with trade secrets theft and sentenced to 18 months in federal prison, which he did not serve because it was pardoned by former President Donald Trump. In other news, United States President Joe Biden touted a $60 million solar investment in South Carolina on Thursday, which he held up as an example of his plans to rebuild American manufacturing. It's the focus of his re-election bid, what he has taken to calling Bidenomics, emphasizing job and wage gains since he took office in 2020. And fresh economic data out Thursday, July 6, 2023, appeared to support some of his message. Private payrolls surged in June, while the number of Americans filing new claims for unemployment benefits increased moderately last week. A key test of Biden's message comes on Friday, July 7, 2023, with June's employment report. But one thing that could undermine Biden's rosy economic picture is inflation. While the pace of price increases has slowed since last summer, it's proven a persistent problem despite aggressive efforts by the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates. Biden spent the majority of his remarks talking up manufacturing.
Just today, the Department of Energy announced new incentives for companies to bring solar power manufacturing back to our shores. We're in a real race. China's ahead of us.
Biden also emphasized the growth of the sector here, with companies planning to increase production of everything from electric vehicle battery parts to microchips, with legislative victories like the passage of Inflation Reduction contributing to the gains. And that's it on today's news. To keep up with All News Nigeria, kindly follow us on all social media platforms displayed on the screen. I am Opeyemi Olubemi. Do have a lovely weekend.